10 man-made wonders of the world. Ever wondered what humanity's greatest achievements look like? From impossible engineering feats to mind-blowing architectural masterpieces, these 10 man-made wonders redefine what's possible. Ready to be amazed? Let's get started.
Coming in at number 10 is the Parthenon. You cannot tour Athens without visiting the Parthenon. This famous temple sits pretty on top of the Acropolis. Its construction began in 447 BC and finally completed in 432 BC. But what else makes it so wonderful? Parthenon is such an incredible building that it took over 469 silver talents to build. Remember, one silver talent is approximately 10,160, so do the math. It also housed a very massive statue right inside it, the statue of Athena Parthenos. Worshippers visited this statue regularly to fall at its feet, and this was not a regular statue. It was built with ivory, silver, and gold. Unfortunately, in the 5th century, the statue was looted by one of the Roman emperors and taken to Constantinople, where it was later destroyed. This incredible temple is so beautiful that it has become one of the world's most popular tourist sites. It has also served as a fortress, a church, a mosque, and a powder magazine. But while Parthenon lost its famous statue, Easter Island continues to cradle some of hers. Coming in at number 9 is Easter Island. Easter Island is one of the most isolated islands on Earth, but it is also very famous for the sturdy monolithic statues it carries. These statues were carved by Polynesian colonizers, mostly between 1250 AD and 1500 AD. The moai were built to represent deceased ancestors, but they were also regarded as embodiments of powerful living or former chiefs. The tallest moai is called Paro. It was almost 10 meters high and weighed 75 tons. Unfortunately, most of the statues were cast down during conflicts between Europeans and native clans, but there was light at the end of that tunnel. About 50 moai have been re-erected on Easter Island, though some are now in museums elsewhere. However, statues were not the only thing ancient humans built to honor their dead. Number 8 wonder is Taj Mahal. Love is one of the greatest forces to exist, and the Taj Mahal is proof. This large mausoleum, entirely made of white marble, is a tomb. It was built between 1632 and 1653 by the order of the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan, in memory of his favorite wife, Mumtaz Mahal, or the chosen one of the palace. The chosen one died in 1631 while giving birth to their 14th child. It is no wonder the mausoleum is known famously as a teardrop on the cheek of eternity. But its significance is not the only thing that makes it a wonder. The Taj is one of the most architecturally beautiful tombs in the world. It is actually an integrated complex of structures, so apart from the white-domed marble mausoleum, there are other beautiful buildings around it. There is even a reflecting pool and an extensive ornamental garden with flowering trees and bushes. The white marble on the mausoleum was built with semi-precious stones in geometric and floral patterns. 4 smaller domes surround its majestic central dome. It took about 22 years and 20,000 workers to construct the complex. The Taj Mahal is an incredible example of Mughal architecture. The emperor was so impressed with it that he wished to have his own mausoleum made of black marble. Unfortunately, one of his sons deposed him before any work began. Talking about dead people, this next man-made wonder is a little related to dead people. But before the big reveal, hit the subscribe button if you enjoy our content. Coming in at number 7 is the Colosseum. You might wonder why this incredibly large amphitheater is tied with death, and the answer is simple. Thousands of people died there. The Colosseum is the largest and most famous amphitheater in the Roman Empire. Its construction was approved by Emperor Vespasian of the Flavian dynasty in 72 AD and finished by his son Titus in 80 AD. After it was finished, its opening ceremony lasted for 100 days, and several spectacles were held every day. In those first 100 days of its existence, 5,000 animals and 2,000 gladiators were killed. But away from the blood on its floors, the Colosseum measures 620 by 513 feet and features a complex system of vaults. It was so large that it could hold 50,000 spectators who could enter the building through at least 80 entrances. Spectators were protected from the rain and heat of the sun by sails called the velarium around the top of the attic. Water was sometimes pumped into the Colosseum for mock naval engagements. Apart from these mock naval engagements, the amphitheater held other notable events like gladiator and animal fights. It is also believed that Christians were martyred there by being thrown to the lions. It is estimated that about 500,000 people died in the Colosseum. So many animals were captured and killed there too that some species reportedly became extinct. But when humans aren't being murderous savages, they are worshiping some god. That is why temples keep making the list of artificial wonders. One of them is Angkor. Angkor Wat, at number 6, is a large temple complex near Siem Reap, Cambodia, built in the 12th century by King Suryavarman II of the Khmer Empire, who reigned from 1113 to c. 1150. This complex took 3 decades to complete. It contains more than 1,000 buildings and is the world's largest religious structure, covering some 400 acres. It has 5 central towers that represent the peaks of Mount Meru, which, according to Hindu mythology, is the dwelling place of the gods. The mountain is said to be surrounded by an ocean, so the complex's enormous moat suggests the oceans are at the edge of the world. To get into the site, you have to walk through a 617-foot bridge. If the temple is your destination, you still have to walk through 3 galleries, each separated by a paved walkway. The temple walls are covered with bas-relief sculptures of very high quality representing Hindu gods and ancient Khmer scenes, as well as scenes from the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. It marks the high point of Khmer architecture. However, during its long history, Angkor underwent many changes as the people converted from Hinduism to Buddhism several times, especially during times of war. The temple has become a symbol of Cambodia and even features on its national flag. However, it is impossible to mention iconic architecture without mentioning a pyramid. Coming in at number 5 is Teotihuacan. In the 2nd century BC, a new civilization in Mexico built the flourishing metropolis of Teotihuacan and its huge pyramids. One was the Pyramid of the Sun, built around 100 AD. This large pyramid is over 75 meters high, making it the largest building in Teotihuacan. The Pyramid of the Moon was also built a century later and finished in 450 AD. These pyramids still stand and were even used by the Aztecs as places of pilgrimage. But even more iconic than this is the lost city that was found with many treasures. Number 4 is Petra. Petra is in a remote valley, hidden between sandstone mountains and cliffs. It remained lost and hidden until 1912. Petra is believed to be one of the places where Moses struck a rock and water gushed forth. However, according to history, the Nabateans, an Arab tribe, made it their capital, and in their hands, it flourished. It flourished so well that it became an important trade center, especially for spices and silk, that linked China, India, and southern Arabia with Egypt, Greece, and Rome. How did they do it? The Nabateans were known as incredible carvers, and they proved this by chiseling dwellings, temples, and tombs into the sandstone. These treasured buildings remain, and they are not only beautiful, but they change color when the sun shifts. The most elaborate building in Petra is Al-Khazneh, meaning the treasury. It was carved out of a sandstone rock face, and it is so large that it dwarfs everything around it. The Nabateans also constructed a water system that watered their lush gardens. At its peak, Petra is said to have had a population of 30,000. Unfortunately, the city began to decline when trade routes shifted. A major earthquake in 363 CE further ruined it. After another tremor hit in 551, Petra was abandoned until it was rediscovered in 1912. Petra is, without a doubt, Jordan's greatest tourist attraction. But the ancient city of Petra is not the only city humans lost and rediscovered. There is another surrounded by a very thick mystery. Number 3 is Machu Picchu. While Petra was rediscovered in 1912, Hawaiian historian Hiram rediscovered Machu Picchu a year before in 1911. For several centuries, this city had remained hidden above the Urubamba Valley. Machu Picchu is known as the lost city of the Incas and is totally invisible from below because of the large agricultural terraces surrounding it. But even though Hiram pushed through the vegetation and found the city, he still hasn't been able to go through the mystery around it. At first, he believed he had discovered Vilcabamba, a secret Incan stronghold used during the 16th century rebellion against Spanish rule, but that claim was disproven. To date, it has yet to be discovered why the city was built. Bingham's following claim was that it was home to the Virgins of the Sun, women who lived in convents under a vow of chastity. Others thought that it was a pilgrimage site, while some believed it was a royal retreat. We might never know. Anyway, what we do know is that Machu Picchu is one of the few major pre-Columbian ruins found nearly intact. The beautiful city was found with agricultural terraces, plazas, residential areas, and temples intact. Unfortunately, modern humans love to ruin things. In 2000, a crane used to shoot a beer ad, fell, and cracked a monument. Anyway, you know what might have survived a crane fall? The Great Wall of China. Coming in at number 2 is the Great Wall of China. This world-famous wall was built and maintained between the 5th century BC and the 16th century to protect the northern borders of the Chinese Empire from the attacks of the Xiongnu tribes. Well, great might be an understatement. The wall is so large that it took 2 millennials to build it. It is definitely one of the world's largest building construction projects. The wall is said to be about 5,500 miles, but a Chinese study claims it is a whopping 13,170 miles. The structure is more than just a wall. It has 2 parallel walls, watchtowers, and even barracks around the bulwark. But one not-so-great thing about the wall is that over the years, it has served more as a political propaganda than a means of security. But even if the Great Wall doesn't survive a crane fall, our next wonder definitely will. It is the strongest wonder to exist and has survived several centuries, several attacks, several governments, and several terrible weathers. Coming out of the first list, it has now earned its spot as number 1 man-made wonder in the world, the Pyramids of Giza. The ancient Israelites are probably the best architects to have ever existed. Giza necropolis is located in the southwestern suburbs of Cairo. Khufu, Khafra, and Menkaura built the pyramids over the span of 3 generations. 3 long generations. The major pyramid, Khufu's tomb, took over 20 years, 100,000 workers, and over 2 million blocks of stone to build around 2560 BC. It is easily the largest pyramid in Egypt, spanning 139 meters high, even though Khafra's pyramid appears to be larger as it is built at a higher elevation. The Great Tomb of Khufu is a masterpiece. The 4 sides of the pyramid's base are more than 700 feet long and differ in length by no more than 8 inches. Each side of the pyramid is almost perfectly aligned with the 4 cardinal points of the compass. The pyramid's dimensions convert to a ratio that equates to 2 up with nearly perfect accuracy. The outermost stones of the pyramid were highly polished white limestones, which were eventually loosened by an earthquake more than 600 years ago. The earthquake could only shake the rocks but couldn't crack the sturdy pyramid. The stones were later removed to help build cities and mosques. But before they were removed, some believed that the pyramid was so large and bright that it could be seen from the moon. And that effectively concludes the list of the 10 wonders of the world. Now, is there any site you believe should have made the cut? We love learning about new places. Don't forget to subscribe.